Some breaking news to come over this weekend. Thanks to a new tentative agreement, Air Canada has narrowly avoided a major shutdown that would have thrown its business into turmoil. The agreement reached with the Airline Pilots Association, or ALPA, involves some 5,200 pilots who were contemplating major strike action to basically secure better contracts. The strike action that would have been a last resort comes as pilots seek better contracts, like those of their counterparts in the United States. Typically, strike action, as I touched on, is the last resort by employees that are represented by a union in a bid to finalize a deal. Strikes have, as I'm sure you'd know, a colossal impact on the airlines that these employees call home and are viewed as a threat to basically get the airline to come to the table and pay the employees what they believe is an amount that they deserve. As inflation rises and the cost of living grows out of control, those working within the aviation industry across a host of roles have looked to secure greater pay and a more enhanced work-life balance with even greater health benefits. Whether you are working on the ground in terms of unloading and loading an aircraft, or you're right at the front of the plane and flying it, all these aforementioned positions and so many others have really been a core focus of seeking better contracts in the last 18 months. And it doesn't matter if you're in the United States, Canada, or Germany. All are very much united in the same objective. While several contracts have been rectified, as I touched on, some outliers have yet to be finalized, and previously that was Air Canada. As part of a brief but very important news release, the airline confirmed that the framework for the deal had been provided, with a 4-year collective agreement reached. The contract will now go to a ratification vote by the membership and is expected to be completed across the next month, with the approval from the board of directors to follow. Such a tentative agreement, however, does end the risk of an upcoming shutdown across the Air Canada mainline and Air Canada Rouge network that was cited as potentially occurring on a worst case scenario, and it definitely seemed we were getting very close to that if this agreement hadn't been reached. But as I touched on at the beginning of this video, it really is actions such as a strike that would lead to a shutdown really is seen as a last resort, and to really showcase just how badly a union wants to get a deal over the line and pressure the airline. The terms of the tentative agreement, however, are to remain private. Now, alongside this agreement, the airline also reportedly presented its plan for future growth over the agreed upon period. Now, that is 4 years. The next 4 years, I can't understate this enough, will be key for Air Canada. Remember, they're going to see the arrival of many new aircraft types, which should ease pressure on existing units. Furthermore, the flag carrier is going to use those new additions to expand quite significantly to reach new markets and even return to the ones it previously served. Many of Air Canada's limitations are related to available resources. I know that's something you've heard far too often with many airlines around our industry, but for Air Canada, those limitations most notably center around aircraft, which it has seen shortages with. The carrier, for instance, has been aiming to return to Melbourne, Australia. I've had the pleasure of chatting with many executives at the airport who have continued to say that they want Air Canada back. They're desperate for Air Canada to come back. But it's not as simple as that, and the logistical nightmare with regards to aircraft being available has really been the primary roadblock. So the next 4 years, with a new tentative contract being agreed, are going to be hugely important, and it'll be interesting to see how this airline continues to develop. How does it fend off emerging competitors, but how does it really also solidify its position even further? If you have got any thoughts on this tentative new agreement being reached and therefore a shutdown not occurring, you can let me know down below in the comments. Stay tuned, same place, same time tomorrow for your latest industry recap.
And we'll fly.